check.
Let's pretend we're kings and queens.
How can we pretend we're kings and queens when there are only two of us?
One can't pretend.
Silly Alice, you do not know sums. There are only two of us. We cannot be many.
Well, you could be one of them, and I could be all the rest.
Oh, Alice, look what Dinah's done. I'm going to have to tell.
Well, then let's pretend I'm a hungry hyena and you're a bone.
Now, Alice! You know fighting is a very bad thing indeed. I shall lock you in here and you will clean the Dinah's mess. And if you have it clean by the time I come back, I won't tell that you tried to bite me and acted like a wild animal.
Oh, you wicked little thing. Really, Dinah, I ought to have taught you better manners. Let's pretend that you're the Red Queen, Kitty. Do you know, I think if you sat up and folded your arms, you'd look exactly like her. Now do try, there's a dear. See how sulky you are? And if you're not good directly, I'll put you through into the looking glass house. Let's pretend there's a way of getting through into it somehow, Kitty. I declare, it's turning into a sort of mist now. It'll be easy enough to get through. It's all in some language I don't know. Why, it's a looking glass book, of course. If I hold it up to the glass, the words will go the right way again. Jabberwocky. 'Twas Brillig and the slaggy toad did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mincy with the boar grows, and all the moan raised outraged. Seems very pretty, but it's rather hard to understand.
Oh, Tiger Lily, I wish you could talk.
We can talk. Well, is anybody worth talking to?
And can all the flowers in the garden talk?
As well as you can, and a great deal louder.
It isn't manners for us to begin, and I really was wondering when you'd speak. Said I to myself, her face has got some sense in it, though it's not a very clever one. Still, you're the right color, and that goes a long way.
I don't care about the color. If only her petals curled up a little more. then she'd be all right.
Aren't you sometimes frightened of being planted out here with nobody to take care of you?
There's the tree in the middle. What else is it good for?
This? But what? What could it do if any danger came? It says bow wow. That's why its branches are called boughs. Didn't you know that?
Both of you. They know I can't get at them. They wouldn't dare to do it.
Never mind that. If you don't hold your tongue, I'll pick you.
That's right. The daisies are worst of all. When one speaks, the other must begin. It's enough to make one wither to hear the way they go on.
How is it you can all talk so nicely? I've been to many gardens before, although none of the flowers can actually talk.
Put your hand down and feel the ground. Then you'll know why.
It's quite hard, but I don't see what to do with anything, really.
In most gardens, they make the beds too soft, so that the flowers always asleep.
I never thought of that before.
Well, it's my opinion that you never think at all.
I've never met anyone stupider.
So if you ever saw anybody, you keep your head under leaves and snore away there, so you know no more what's going on in the world than if you were a bud.
Never mind whatever that was. Is there any more people in the garden besides me?
Well, there is one other flower in the garden that can move about like you. I wonder how you do it.
You're always wondering.
Is she like me? There's another little girl out here somewhere?
Well, she has the same awkward shape as you, but she's redder, and her petals are shorter, I think.
Her petals are done up close, almost like a dahlia. Not tumbled about anyhow like yours.
But that's not your fault. They're beginning to fade, you know, and then one can't help one's petals getting a little untidy.
Does she ever come out here?
I dare say, you'll see her soon. She's one of the thorny kind.
Where does she wear the thorns?
Well, by all around her head, of course. I was wondering you hadn't got some too. I thought it was the regular rule.
She's coming. I can hear her footsteps.
I think I'm gonna go meet her.
You can't possibly do that. I should advise you walk the other way.
Where do you come from? And where are you going? Look up. Speak nicely and don't twiddle your fingers all the time. I've lost my way. I don't know what you mean by your way. All the ways about here belong to me. But why did you come out here at all? Curtsy while you're thinking what to say. It saves time. Open your mouth a little wider when you speak and always say, Your Majesty. I only want to see what the garden is like, Your Majesty. That's right. Though when you say garden, I've seen gardens, compared with which this would be a wilderness. I declare, it's marked out just like a large chessboard. It's like a big, huge game of chess being played all over the world. If this is the world by any chance, you know. Oh, what fun this is. I wish I was one of them. I wouldn't mind being a pawn, though I should like to be a queen best. That's easily managed. You can be the white queen's pawn. If you like. You're in the second square to begin with. When you get to the 8th square, you'll be a queen. Faster. Faster. I wonder if all the things move along with us. Faster. Don't try to talk. Faster. Faster. Are we nearly there? Nearly there? Why we passed it 10 minutes ago. Faster. Now, faster, faster. You may rest a little now. Why, I do believe we've been to the same places before. Everything's just as it was. Of course it is. What would you have it? Well, in our country, you generally get to go somewhere for a very long time. If you ran for very long and for very fast, that is. Some sort of country. Now, here you see, it takes all the room you can to stay in the same place. If you want to get somewhere else, you must run at least twice as fast as that. Twice as fast? I'd rather not try, please. I'm quite content to stay here. Although I'm just so hot and thirsty. I know what you'd like. Have a biscuit? While you're refreshing yourself, I'll take the biscuits. All right. At the end of 2 yards, I shall give you your directions. Have another biscuit?
No thanks, one's quite enough.
Thirst quenched, I hope. At the end of 3 yards, I shall repeat for fear of you won't forget. At the end of 4, I shall say goodbye, and at the end of 5, I shall go. A pond goes 2 squares, and it's first, you know. So you'll go very quickly through your 3rd square. By railway, I should say. And you'll find yourself in the 4th square in no time. Well, that square belongs to Tweedledum and Tweedledee. The 5th is where you'll meet the Queen. The 6th belongs to Humpty Dumpty. But you make no remark.
I didn't know I had to make a remark just then.
You should have said, "It's extremely kind of you to tell me all this." However, we'll suppose it's said. The 7th square is all fours. However, one of the knights will show you the way. And in the 8th square, we shall all be queens together. And it's all feasting and fun. Speak in French when you can't think of the English word thing. Turn out your toes as you walk, and remember who you are. Goodbye. Tickets, please.
Don't keep him waiting,
My
child.
time is worth 1,000 pounds a minute.
Now then, pay your ticket, child.
I'm afraid I haven't got one. There wasn't a ticket office where I came
Don't
from.
make
The
excuses.
There's 1,000 pounds an
engine
inch.
driver.
The man that drives the engine by the smoke alone is worth 1,000 pounds a pup.
Then there's no use in speaking.
Better say nothing at all. Language is worth 1,000 pounds a word.
I shall dream 1,000 pounds tonight. I know I shall.
You're traveling the wrong way.
So young a child ought to know which way she's going, even if she doesn't know her own name.
She ought to know her way to the ticket office, even if she doesn't know her alphabet.
You have to go back to your luggage.
Sounds like a horse.
You might make a joke on that. Something about horse and horse, you know. She must be labeled last with hair, you know.
What a number of people there are in the carriage.
You have to go back to here to the telegraph.
She must draw the train herself the rest of the way.
Never mind what they all say, my dear, but take a return ticket every time the train stops.
Indeed, I shan't. I don't belong to this railway journey at all. I was in a wood just now, and I really wish I could go back there.
You might make a joke on that. You would if you could, you know.
Don't you so? If you're so anxious to have a joke made, why don't you make one yourself? If I would only sigh like other people.
I know you're a friend, a dear friend, and an old friend. And you won't hurt me, though I am an insect.
What kind of insect?
Then you don't.
It's only brook we have to cross over. However, it'll take us to the 4th square. That's some comfort. Whoa, you are a very large gnat.
Then you don't like all insects?
I like them when they can talk. None of them ever talk where I come from.
What sort of insects do you rejoice in where you come from?
I don't rejoice in insects at all, because I'm rather afraid of them. At least the large kinds. But I can tell you the names of some of them.
Of course they answer to their names.
I never knew them to do it.
What's the use of their having names if they won't answer to them? Suppose you don't want to lose your name.
No, indeed.
And yet I don't. Only think how convenient it would be if you could manage to turn it on without it. For instance, if a governess wanted to call you to your lessons, she would call out, "Come here." And there she would have to leave off, because there wouldn't be any need for her to talk. And of course you wouldn't know.
I'm sure if she couldn't remember my name, she'd call me Miss, as the servants do.
Well, if you said miss and didn't say anything else, of course you've missed your lessons. That's a joke. I wish you had made it.
Why do you wish I had made it? Very bad one. Well, you should make jokes if it makes you so unhappy. Why did she sigh herself away? Guess there's no use standing here looking at nothing. This must be the wood where things have no name. I wonder what will become of my name when I go in. I shouldn't like to lose it at all, because then they'd have to give me another, and it's almost certain to be an ugly one. Well, at any rate, it's a great comfort after being so hot to get into the what? I mean, under this, you know? What does it call itself, I wonder? I do believe it's got no name. Why, to be sure it hasn't. But then, it really has happened. And now, who am I? I will remember if I can. I'm determined to do it. Here then. What do you call yourself? I wish I knew. Nothing just now.
I think again, that won't do.
Please, would you tell me what you call yourself? I think that might help a little.
I'll tell you if we move on a little further. I can't remember here.
I'm a fawn!
And dear me,
You're a human child. I remember my name now. Alice. Alice. I won't forget it again. And now, which of these finger posts I ought to follow, I wonder? But I can't stay there long. I'll just call and say, how do you do? And ask them the way out of the wood.
if you think we're waxworks, you ought to pay, you know. Waxworks weren't meant to be looked at for nothing. No how.
Contrariwise, if you think we're alive, you ought to speak.
Oh, I'm sure I'm very sorry. I know what you're thinking about, but it isn't so. No how.
Contrariwise, if it was so, it might be. If it were so, it would be. But as it isn't, it ain't. That's logic.
I was thinking, which is the best way out of this wood, where it is coming on oh so dark? Would you tell me, please? The first thing to do on a visit is to say, howdy do, and shake hands.
Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush so early in the morning.
Much obliged. You like poetry? Yes, pretty well. Some poetry. But could you tell me which way leads out the wood?
What shall I repeat to her?
The walrus and the carpenter.
The walrus and the carpenter were walking close at hand. They wept like anything to see such quantities of sand. If this were only cleared away,
They said.
it would be grand.
Oh, oysters, come and walk with us. The walrus did beseech. A pleasant walk, a pleasant talk, along the briny beach. We cannot do with more than four to give a hand to each.
For an oyster, hurry up. I'll eat you for the treat. Their coats are brushed, their faces washed, their shoes are clean and neat. Now I know because we have any feet. The walrus and the carpenter walked down a mile or so. They rested on a rock conveniently low, and all the oysters stood and waited in a row.
The time has come,
The walrus said,
to talk of many things, of shoes and ships and sealing, of cabbages and kings, and why the sea is boiling hot, and whether pigs have wings.
Are there any lions or tigers about here? Only the white keep snoring. Come and look at him.
Isn't he a lovely sight? Make a sore his head off.
Oh, dear me, but I am afraid he'll catch a cold. He's dreaming now. Oh, what do you suppose he's dreaming about? Well, nobody could guess that. Why, you. And if we left out thinking about you, where do you suppose you'd be? Well, where I am now, of course. Not you. You'd be nowhere. Why, you're only sort of thing in his dream.
If that there king were to wake up, you'd go out. Bang! Just like a candle.
I could.
Besides, everyone was only sort of a thing in this dream. What are you? I should let you know.
Ditto!
Ditto! Hush! You'll be waking him, I'm afraid, if you make too much noise.
It's no use you're talking about waking him when you're only one of the things in his dream. You know very well you're not real.
But I am real!
You'll make yourself a bit realer by crying. There's nothing to cry about.
If I wasn't real, I should not be able to cry.
You don't suppose those are real tears, do you?
Oh, I know they're talking nonsense. It's foolish to cry about this. At any rate, I really should be coming out of this wood, for it is coming on oh so dark. Do you believe it's going to rain?
Nope, I don't think so. At least, not under here. No how.
So, it may rain outside.
It may, if it chooses. We have no objection contrary-wise.
Selfish things.
Do you see that?
Why, it's only a rattle. Quite old and broken.
It's spoilt, of course.
Well, you needn't be so angry about an old rattle.
But it isn't old, I tell you. It's new. I just bought it yesterday. My nice new rattle. Of course you agree to have a battle.
I'm very brave generally on the day I happen to have a headache.
And I've got a toothache. I'm far much worse off than you.
Well, then we better not fight today.
But we must have a bit of a battle.
Very well, but she can watch us. Only don't come too close. I generally hit everything I see when I get really excited.
And I generally hit everything within reach, whether I can see it or not.
This is all because of rattle.
There's only one sword, but you can have the umbrella. It's just as sharp. Only we must begin quickly.
I'm very glad I've happened to be in the way.
Bread and butter, bread and butter.
Am I dressing the White Queen?
Well, yes, if you call it a direction. It isn't my notion of a thing at all.
If your Majesty will only tell me the right way to begin, I'll do it as well as I can.
But I don't want it done at all. I've been addressing myself for the last 2 hours.
Everything's all crooked and she's all over pins. May I put your shawl straight for you?
I don't know what's the matter with it. It's out of temper, I think. I pin it here and I pin it there, but there's no pleasing.
It can't go straight. No. If you put it all on one side, then you would state your hair is in.
The brushes got tangled in it, and I lost the comb yesterday.
Come, you look rather better now. But you really should have a ladies' maid.
I'm sure I'll take you with pleasure. 2 pence a week and jam every other day.
I don't want you to hire me. And I don't care for jam.
It's very good of you.
Well, I don't want any jam today at any rate.
You couldn't have it if you did want it. The rule is jam tomorrow, and jam yesterday. But never jam today.
But it must come sometimes to jam today.
No, I can't. It's jam every other day. Today isn't any other day. Do you know?
I don't understand you. It's dreadfully confusing.
That's the effect of living backwards. It always makes them a little gig at first.
Living backwards? I've never heard of such a thing.
But there's one great advantage in it, that one's memory works both ways.
I'm sure my memory only works one way. I can't remember things before they happen.
It's a poor sort of memory that only works backwards.
What sort of things do you remember best?
Oh, things that happened a week after next. For instance, now, there's the King's nephew. He's in prison now, being punished. And the trial doesn't even begin until next Wednesday. And of course, the crime comes last of all.
Suppose he never commits the crime.
And that would be all the better, wouldn't it?
Of course it would be all the better, but wouldn't it be all the better he's being punished?
You're wrong there. At any rate, were you ever punished?
Only for fault.
And you were all the better for it, I know.
But then I had done the things I was being punished for. And that makes all the difference.
But if you hadn't done them, that would have been better still. Better and better and better. Better. There's a mistake somewhere. Oh, my finger! It's bleeding!
What's the matter? Have you pricked your finger?
Well, I haven't pricked it yet, but soon I shall.
When do you expect to do it?
When I fasten my shawl again, the brooch will come done directly.
Take care, you're holding it all crooked.
That accounts for the bleeding, you see. Now you understand the way things happen here.
But why don't you scream now?
Why, I've done all the screaming already. What would be the good of having it all over again?
Can you keep from crying by considering things?
That's the way it's done. Nobody can do two things at once, you know. Let's consider your age to begin with. How old are you?
I'm 7.5. Exactly.
You needn't say exactly. I can leave without that. No, I'll give you something to believe. I'm just 101, 5 months, and a day.
I can't believe that.
Can't you? Try again. Draw a long breath and shut your eyes.
There's no use in trying. One can't believe impossible things.
I dare say you haven't had much practice. When I was your age, I only did it for half an hour a day. Why, sometimes I believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast. There goes the shell again. I've got it. Now you shall see me pin it on all by myself.
Then I hope your finger's better now.
Oh, much better. Better.
Was brilliant and the sly doves did gyre and gimballing away. Oh, men see were the borogoves and the mob rats out great. Beware, Jack.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a lawn. Humpty Dumpty had a great ball. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty back in his place again.
Don't stand there chattering to yourself like that. But tell me your name and business.
My name is Alice, but
It's a stupid enough name. What does it mean?
does the name mean something?
Of course it must. My name means the shape I am. Very good, handsome shape it is too.
Why do you sit out here, all alone?
Why? Because there's nobody sitting with me. Did you think I didn't know the answer to that? Ask another.
Don't you think it would be safer down on the ground? That wall is so very narrow.
Why, of course not. If I did fall, which could never happen, but if I did fall, the king promised that.
To send all of his horses and all his men.
Well, that's too bad, I declare. You've been listening at doors, but you couldn't have known it.
I haven't indeed. It's in a book.
Ah, well, they might write such things in a book. Yes, all the king's horses and all the king's men. They'd pick me up in a minute. They would.
What a beautiful belt you've got on. At least a beautiful cravat, I should have said. No, belt, I mean. Oh, I do beg your pardon. Only if I knew which was neck and which was waist.
It is a most provoking thing when a person cannot tell a belt from a cravat.
I know, very ignorant of me.
It's a cravat, child, and a very beautiful one, as you say. It was a gift from the White King and Queen. There now.
Is it really?
They gave it to me. They gave it to me. For an unbirthday present.
I beg your pardon?
I'm not offended.
No, I mean, what is an unbirthday present?
Present given when it isn't your birthday, of course.
I like birthday presents best.
You don't know what you're talking about. How many days are there in a year?
365.
And how many birthdays do you have?
1.
You can take one from 365. How many days remain?
364, of course.
And only one for birthday presents. You know, the score of you.
What do you mean by glory?
I mean, there's a nice knockdown argument.
But glory doesn't mean nice knockdown argument.
When I use a word, it means what I choose it to mean, neither more nor less.
Sir, you seem very clever at explaining words. Do you mind telling me the meaning of the poem Jabberwocky?
Let's hear it. I can explain all poems that were ever invented, and a good many that haven't been invented just yet.
'Twas Frilly and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wave. All mimsy were the boar groves and all the moat raised outraged.
That's enough to begin with. There are plenty of hard ones there. Really means 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the time where you begin boiling things for dinner.
That makes sense. And
Slivey?
Well, slidely is life and slimy. Life is the same as active. You see, it's like a portmanteau. There are 2 meanings packed into one word.
I see it now. And what are toves?
Well, toves are something like badgers. There's something like lizards, and there's something like corkscrews.
They must be very curious looking creatures.
That they are. They also make their nests on the sundials and live on cheese.
And what's the gyre and gimbal?
Well, to gyres to go round and round like a gyroscope. Gimbals to make tiny holes like gimlet.
And wave is a grassy plot around a sundial, I suppose.
Exactly so. Well then, mimsy is flimsy and miserable. There's another portmanteau for you. And boar groves are a thin, shabby-looking bird with feathers sticking out all around. Something like a live moth.
And mole wraith?
Well, wraith is a sort of green pig. But mome, I think, is short for from home, meaning they lost their way, you know.
And what does outgraving mean?
Well, outgraving is sort of a bellow and whistle, with a kind of sneeze in between. Who's been repeating all that hard stuff to you?
I read it in a book. Is that all?
That's all. Goodbye.
Bye. Till we meet again.
I shouldn't know you if you didn't meet again. So exactly like everybody else. Face is exactly the same. 2 eyes, one nose in the middle, mouth underneath. It's always the same. Now, if you had 2 eyes on the same side of your nose and a mouth on top, that would be some help.
It wouldn't look very nice.
Wait till you've tried.
All the unsatisfactory people I've ever met.
Just look along the road and tell me if you can see any of my messengers.
I see nobody on the road.
I only wish I had such eyes to be able to see nobody at that distance, too.
I see somebody now, but he's coming very slowly. And what curious attitude he goes into.
Not at all. He's an Anglo-Saxonist, and those are Anglo-Saxon attitudes. He only does them when his name is Mayo.
I love my love with an H because he's happy. I hate him with an H because he's hideous. I fed him with ham sandwiches and hay. His name is Haya, and he lives
on me. The other messenger's name is Haya. I must have 2, you know, to come and go. One to come and one to go.
I beg your pardon?
It is respectable to beg.
I only meant that I didn't understand. Why one to come and one to go?
Indeed. I must have 2 to fetch and carry. One to fetch and one to carry. This young lady loves you with an H. You alarm me. I feel for it. Give me a hand sandwich. Another sandwich.
There's nothing but hay.
Hey then, there's nothing like eating hay when you're faint.
I should think throwing cold water over you would be better.
I didn't say there was nothing better. I said there was nothing like it. Who did you pass on the road?
Nobody.
Quite right. This young lady saw him too. So of course, nobody walks slower than you do.
I'll do my best. I'm sure nobody walks much faster than I do.
He can't have done that, or else he'd have been here first. However, now that you've caught your breath, you may tell us what's happened in the town.
I'll whisper it.
They're at it again!
Do you call that a whisper? If you do such a thing again, I'll have you buttered. Went through and through my head like an earthquake.
It would have to be a very tiny earthquake. Who are at it again?
Why, the lion and the unicorn, of course.
Fighting for the crown.
Yes, to be sure. The best of the joke is, it's my crown all the while. Let's run and see them.
The lion and the unicorn were fighting for the crown. The lion beat the unicorn all around the town.
Does the one that wins get the crown?
You know, what an idea.
Would you be good enough to stop a minute just to get one's breath again?
I'm good enough, only you see, I'm not strong enough. For a minute goes by so fearfully quick, you might as well try and catch a bandersnatch.
He's only just out of prison, and he hadn't finished his 2 when he was sent in. They only get them oysters out in there. So you see, he's very hungry. How are you? Were you happy in prison? Speak, can't you?
Speak, won't you?
They're getting on. They're getting on very well. Each of them has been down about 87 times.
I had the best of it this time.
A little, a little. You should have run us through with your horn, you know.
Yeah, that What is
This. This is a child.
I always thought they were fabulous monsters. Is it alive?
It can talk.
Talk, child.
Do you know? I always thought unicorns were fabulous monsters too. I've never seen one alive before.
Well, now that we have seen each other, if you'll believe in me, I'll believe in you. Is that a bargain?
Yes, if you like.
What's this? Ah, what is it now?
You'll never guess. I couldn't.
Are you an animal? Vegetable? Mineral?
Why is a fabulous monster?
What a fight we'll have for the crown now.
I should win easy.
I'm not so sure of that.
Why? I'll beat you all around town, you chicken.
All around town. That's a good long way.
I don't like belonging to another person's dream. I've got a great mind to go and wake him and see what happens next.
Ahoy, ahoy, check! You! Ahoy, ahoy, check!
These are
Yes, but then I came and rescued him.
Well, we must fight for her then.
You observe the rules of battle, of course.
We want food.
It was a glorious victory, wasn't it?
I don't know. I don't want to be anybody's prisoner. I want to be a queen.
And so you will. I will lead you safe to the end of the wood. But then I must go, you know. For that is the end of my move.
I'm afraid you've not had much practice in riding.
What makes you say that?
Because we don't fall off so often when we've had much practice.
Let's see practice. Let's see you practice. The great art of riding. Yes, but I've invented it. It was the cleverest thing of the sort that I ever did. Inventing a new pudding during the meat course.
In time to have it cooked for the next course.
Not the next course, no. Certainly not the next course.
Then it would have to be the next day. I suppose you wouldn't be having 2 pudding courses in one dinner.
Not the next day. No, not the next day. In fact, I don't believe pudding ever was cooked. In fact, I don't believe pudding ever will be cooked. And yet it was the cleverest of pudding to invent.
What did you mean it to be made of?
It began with blotting paper.
That wouldn't be very nice, I'm afraid.
Yes, but you'd be so surprised. What happens when you start mixing it with other substances, such as gunpowder and sealing wax. But now, I must leave before I have a few yards, for you have a few yards to go, till you will be a queen.
And I never expected I should be queen, so...
Speak when you're spoken to.
Well, if everybody obeyed that rule, and if you only spoke when you were spoken to, and the other person always waited for you to begin, you see, nobody would ever say anything, so that...
Ridiculous. Why, don't you see, child? What right have you to call yourself so? You can't be a queen, you know, till you pass the proper examination. And the sooner we begin it, the better.
I only said if.
She says she only said if.
Oh, but you said a great deal more than that. Oh, ever so much more than that.
So did you know? Always speak the truth, think before you speak, and write it down afterwards.
I'm sure I didn't mean.
That's just what I complain of. What is the use of a child without meaning? Even a joke should have some meaning. And a child's more important than a joke, I should hope. You couldn't deny that, even if you tried with both hands.
I don't deny things with my hands.
I never said you did, I only said you couldn't if you tried.
She's in a state of mind that she wants to deny something, only she doesn't know what to deny.
A nasty, vicious temper. I invite you to Alice's dinner party this afternoon.
And I invite you.
I didn't know I was to have a party at all. But if I'm to have one, I think I ought to invite the guests.
We gave you the opportunity of doing so. But I dare say you've not had many lessons in manners yet.
Manners are not taught in lessons. Lessons teach you to do sums and things of that sort.
And you do addition? What is 1 and 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 1?
I don't know. I lost count.
And you do division? Divide a loaf by a knife. What is the answer to that?
Bread and butter.
Of course. What dreadful nonsense you're talking.
Of course, you know your ABCs.
To be sure I do.
So do I. We'll often say them over together, dear. And I'll tell you a secret. I can read words of 1 letter. Isn't that grand? However, don't be discouraged. You'll come to it in time.
Do you know languages? What's the French for fiddle-dee-dee?
Fiddle-dee-dee is not English.
Whoever said it was.
If you'll tell me what language fiddle-dee-dee is, I'll tell you the French version.
Queens never make bargains.
I wish queens never asked questions.
What is the cause of lightning?
The cause of the lightning is the thunder. No, I meant the other way.
'Tis a shame, 'tis a shame. For once you said a thing, you said it, and there's no going back.
What am I to do? I don't think it ever happened before, in all the history of England, that anybody had to take care of 2 sleeping queens at once. It couldn't, you know. There never was more than 1 queen at once. To wake up, you heavy things. Fine, I'll just leave you. Which bell must I ring? I'm not a visitor, and I'm not a servant. There ought to be one marked queen, you know.
No minutes to the week after next.
What is it now?
Where's the servant whose business it is to answer the door?
Which door?
This door, of course.
To answer the door. What's been asking you?
I don't know what you mean.
I talks English, doesn't I? Or are you deaf? What did it ask you?
Nothing. I've been knocking at it.
Shouldn't do that, shouldn't do that.
Ow!
That's it, you know. You let it alone and it'll let you alone, you know.
Oh, looking glass creatures, croaked Alice. Draw near. 'Tis an honor to see me, a favor to hear. 'Tis a privilege on high to along with the Red Queen, the White Queen, and me.
Now fill up the glasses with treacling or anything else that is pleasant to drink. Mix sand with the cider and wool with the wine.
And welcome Queen Alice with 90 times 9.
Oh, 90 times 9. I'm sure that'll never be done. I better go in at once. Oh. I'm glad they've all come without being asked. I would have never known the right people to invite.
Alice? Mutton. Mutton, Alice.
May I give you a slice?
Oh no. Oh no, no. You, Alice, it isn't manners to cut someone you've just been introduced to. Alice. Pudding. Pudding. Alice, take away the pudding.
Waiter, bring back the pudding.
To Queen Alice's health. Oh, my gosh. Disgraceful.
Just like pigs in a trough.
You ought to return thanks in a neat speech of sorts.
We must support, you know.
Thank you, but I can do quite well without.
That wouldn't be at all the thing.
I rise to return thing.
Take care of yourself. Something is going to happen. Here I am.
I can't take this any longer. And as for you, I'll shake you into a kitten, that I will.
Oh, Your Majesty shouldn't purr so loud. You woke me out of, oh, such a nice dream. And you were there with me, Kitty, all through the Looking Glass world. Did you know it, dear? Tomorrow morning, you shall have a real treat. All the time you are eating your breakfast, I shall repeat the walrus and the carpenter to you, so you can make believe it's oysters, my dear.